Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this wonderful world. Thank you for joining me today. I am Joy Francis, and today we are going to talk about one of my favorite topics, AI versus human touch. And that is so important because if we do not bring the human into the picture, it's amazing. You're not going to be able to develop that connection between you and your prospect. AI does not have the ability to connect with and to bring in the emotions, to bring in the energy level that you bring, to be able to bring in all the things that you do because it just doesn't do that. You need to be able to bring that in. You want to be able to make that connection because the most important thing you can do in any marketing is develop the know, like, and trust. If you don't develop the know, like, and trust, you're not going to make any sales. So that's what we want to be thinking about, and that's what we want to be working with to make sure that we get people that are going to be interested in what we are doing, make sure that we are connecting with those people and get that human interaction, the human interaction that is going to bring that prospect closer to you. Oh, and forgive me, I'm in a hotel, and so I'm trying to figure out where I'm at and what I'm doing. So I apologize. I don't have things set up quite as easily and nicely as I do at home, as I do in my office. I say at home. That's home is always my office. Anyway, what we are doing, we need to bring that human touch in. You need to be able to bring that emotion to your prospect. You want that prospect to be able to touch you and for you to be able to touch that prospect or the client so that you can have that connection. Stories sell, facts tell. It's critically important. The more stories you tell, the more information you are giving with a story, it is going to be a much better sale. Your sales will increase as you learn to tell the stories. And you can't just tell a story. You don't tell a story just to be telling a story. You tell a story that makes a point that agrees with what you're selling, with what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how you're doing it. That is the most important part. And what we want to do, we want to take advantage of AI, and it has the ability to analyze so much data. That's what computers are all about. That's the best thing that they've ever done is to quickly be able to analyze data. And it's just all the X's and O's and just what is it doing? What's it saying? And we get programmers that can program them, and bingo, we have got phenomenal information. We know what that client is doing, what they're looking for, and how they're working. So we need to be able to do that. We need to be able to touch that customer. PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, found that 82% of customers, 82% want more human interaction. That's a big number. And they're not finding it. We get the telephone, you get this telephone, you call somebody, yeah, press this if you want this, press this if you want that, press more if you want this, right? And I get frustrated. Everybody is frustrated with those. We don't want to have to go through that. Oh, and my favorite is please listen to this because our options have changed. That's always the case. It's things are always changing. And so we just want to be able to connect with that human. So the more you can bring yourself into what you are doing, and that's what we do. That's why we spend the time with every client that we set up. We spend the time in the beginning to find out who that client is, who your salespeople are, get the information about you so that we can create that connection. We want you to be able to be connected, and we want to have you in the conversation because I can do all kinds of things. I can tell AI to write this for me, and what I usually do is I'll write it and then I have AI rewrite it and make sure my grammar's okay and, make it so that it converses well, and, I'll ask it to improve me, but, yeah, that's just how I work with it. I am the one that is going to be making things, and I will tell it if I wanted to tell a story, I'll tell it the story. I'll give the story. I may have it all typed up and just load it in and say, read this story, and then tell it what I want it to do with that story. So you are able to come in and do what you want to do and how you want to do it. So that's what you do. But we have got to get that balance between the AI and the human. It cannot be all human. Well, it can be all human, but we don't make as many sales that way. The ability to use the AI, that's where the sales are coming from because the AI does not, the AI doesn't get upset. If you tell it did this wrong, it says, sorry, I'll do better. Or sorry, I misunderstood. Or it gives you, a lot of time, it usually gives me a sorry I didn't do. But yeah, I also say please and thank you to the AI, and so it comes back and it's we're conversing. And you need to be able to do that if you're doing creating things with AI. You want to be at that level also so that it is going to do what you want it to do. The critical piece is going to be balancing what the AI can do with the data analysis and bringing you into the interaction. That's the critical piece. And that is what I I love to do. I'm very good at it. I'm told that people like the way that I write because, well, it's because the way I write, and then I ask AI to make it better, and so it's always very, very good. But you need to be able to do that same type of thing. You need to bring your human interaction in. You need to be able to bring that person that you are into and let the AI work with it, know you, and keep going. And it's critically important. People buy from people. They don't buy from machines. They buy from people that they know, like, and trust. And so that's what you are working on. That's what you need to come up with. That's the most important thing. And there is a story. Yeah, I love this one. A real life example. Company had used AI to identify potential leads, but relied on its sales team to nurture them. The result, a 30% increase in conversion rates. What that tells me is that the sales team was very good at nurturing. Not all salespeople are very good at nurturing. I'm not. And so if I'm not, I know that other people are not. But that's what you can make sure that you bring into it. And we can set things up so that it is going to, even though you may not put something in there and may not do the personal nurturing, we can make that work for you. So you want to be able to bring that together so you're going to be able to increase your sales. And using the AI, a 30% increase in sales, that's a pretty good jump. I know that it would help me, any kind of an increase like that, and that's why I use my AI. That's why I do what I do with it. And so the critical piece, what you need to be able to take away, is to know that AI is a game changer. It is changing the game in lead generation. It is the touch that is going to seal the deal. Yes, it is. And I have been quoting everybody else. I'm going to give you one of my quotes. AI is a tool, not a replacement. It's it's the human touch that makes the difference. Let me repeat that one. AI is a tool, not a replacement. It's the human touch that makes the difference. You need to be able to add your touch into the AI. And that means you're going to be writing some. Yes, you're going to write things on there. And that is so critically important. So that's what I want you to be able to do. That's what I'm going to challenge you to do. And if nothing else, just begin to write. Write some, write down the stories you can remember from your life. You may not be able to pull the story together with how to use it, but just start writing facts down, things that happened to you throughout your life. Yeah, I've got a lot of years that I have stories. I have stories coming out of out of every pore in my skin. So I can do a lot of stories, but not every story is appropriate. And so you need to know what you're doing, what you're looking at, and what you want to make happen. And so that is where you are going to make your life special. And that's also, if you work with somebody like our team, you can work with anybody. There's a lot of people out there that are doing this type of thing. And just make sure that you are brought into it. You don't want somebody to start talking and teach them to talk like Joy. No, that's not the way. That is not the way. I have particular style, particular things that I do, particular ways that I say things, and not everybody talks like I do. I am different from everybody else, but that's me. We need to know who you are, and there are ways to get AI to tell you what you do and what's different and how you speak. And that's one of the critical pieces that we do, is to make sure that we know what is the way that person A, B, and C, how the differences, what are the differences between the way they speak and the way they explain things. And that's what you want to be doing. That's what you want to do. So I want you to, your my goal for you, my challenge for you this weekend is to write at least 20 20 points or stories. And I one of my stories, I I couldn't do the breaststroke when I was young, and I signed up for a meet and signed up in the breaststroke. And the coach wanted to know why I signed up for the breaststroke event. When I got on the bus after, I was young, this was young. And when I got on the bus, I shoved my ribbon in his face and said, "This is why I signed up for the breaststroke event. I'd won a ribbon. It wasn't best ribbon, it wasn't number one, but I won a ribbon." out of all the kids that were there, I was one of the winners. So that's one of my stories. And yeah, all I do when I write something like that, I'll just write breaststroke and coach. And that gives me enough that I can go back later and define what that is. I have another story that relates to nothing again, unless I pull it in to make something. But I was on a geology field trip. We were down in the Outer Banks in North Carolina, and our professor is walking around. We're in the swamp area, and we're walking around. We're checking to see how the sand and the sediment settles into make the various rock faces. And he all of a sudden reaches into his pocket, pulls out a knife, and starts pulling oysters out of the ocean. And opening them and then giving us the raw oysters. And we were just in heaven eating oysters, raw oysters right there in the middle of the ocean. I can still see exactly where I was. And that's been a long time ago. But it's a story. And what does that story impart? What is that going to be telling, and how can I use that story to explain something? That's what I want you to do. Just, that one comes up on oysters in North Carolina. That's what I put to remind me of that one. But there are so many stories that you have, and then figure out point what point you can use that for. How do you use that? How do you make it work for you? And how do you turn that into a lesson? And the lesson is how you bring the personal, the human touch into the AI. And that's the bottom line. That's what I'm talking about today, is bringing the marriage between the human and the AI and getting everything to work together. So, if nobody has told you yet today that they love you, let me be the first. I love you because you are you. And that is so very, very important. I love you. You need to be loving yourself and accepting yourself and being the person that you are. Remember to like, share, and let me do both hands because I go the wrong way every time. Like, share, and subscribe, and leave your comments. Leave some of the input, the couple of words for what your story might be, what your story is. Nobody has to understand it when you just put words in, but you know what that is. So put a couple of words into wherever you're at, put it in the comments, and I'm going to see you on Monday. We'll be back in Michigan, and I will be seeing you Monday. And make sure you have a wonderful weekend, and just keep bringing in the profits. May the profits be with you.